Good morning, everyone. Please remain standing for a minute while Joan Robbins, the director of Hillel, offers our opening reflections.
In the Jewish tradition, when we conclude a course of learning, we recite a short passage paying homage to the text that has just been studied. Addressing the text by name, we proclaim, "We will return to you one day and ask that you one day return to us. We will keep you in our thoughts and memories, just as we hope for you to remember us. We will not abandon you, and may you not forsake us, either in this world or in the world to come." The idea of treating text almost as a human being with feelings and choices is somewhat peculiar if we ascribe a narrow definition to the word text, if we regard text as nothing more than a written word on a page. But in the frame of a true education, text extends beyond the books we have read, beyond the problems we have worked through, beyond the exam questions that we have answered. In a Washington and Lee setting, our text encompasses the people who have supported us and enabled us to be here. Our roommates and classmates, our teachers and advisors, our families and friends. Our text includes the conversations we have engaged in, the causes we have championed, the communities we have led, the competitions by which we have measured ourselves. Our text takes in the full emotional swing of learning, the anxieties of challenge, the celebrations of accomplishment, the sadness of loss, as well as the individuals who have shared all of these moments with us. When viewed in this light, it's entirely reasonable and even imperative to think beyond printed words, to reflect broadly on our time spent in study, and speak directly to the text from which and from whom we have learned. Class of 2010, your Washington and Lee text is arrayed all around you here today. Your text sits to your left and your right. Your text is cheering for you on the lawn. Your text is beaming with justifiable pride as it watches over you from the hereafter. Speaking humbly, on behalf of your W&L text, I say to you, class of 2010, we hope to have the privilege of returning to your presence one day soon, and that you will be eager to be with us again. We ask that you keep us in your thoughts, your prayers, and your hearts, just as we will hold you in our memories, with fondness and faith, admiration, and appreciation. We trust that our common bonds that have given us life, have sustained us, and have brought us together will only strengthen over time, and that our loyalty to and concern for each other will stand, both in this world and in the world to come. And together, let us all say, Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Joan, for those wonderful words to get us going this morning. Honored graduates of the class of 2010, family members and friends, members of the Washington and Lee University Board of Trustees, and members of the faculty and staff. Welcome to Washington and Lee University's 2010 commencement ceremony. Our commencement ceremony at Washington and Lee is different from other places. You may hear passing mention today of commencement-worthy cliches. We wouldn't want you to feel deprived. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. Remember, commencement means beginning. Dream big. Be true to yourself. Look before you leap, but remember, he who hesitates is lost. The world is a challenging place. There's global warming, terrorism, nuclear proliferation, and energy shortages. And in the immortal words of Woody Allen, more than at any other time in history, mankind faces a crossroads. One path leads to despair and utter helplessness, the other to total extinction. Let us pray we have the wisdom to choose correctly. But we don't generally take that route, not because we don't think those are real and important messages for you, but rather we believe you know most of them already. And if we have not gotten through to you these last 4 years, it's really too late now. No, today is one of recognition and I hope inspiration. It is a defined marker in the midst of a continuous and gradual progression. The perspectives of our graduates have been shifting these last few years as they have grown as individuals, discovering much about their unique personalities and abilities, even as they learned that being part of a close-knit community means surrendering a little bit of that individual license to the common good. Today is simply one day we allow ourselves the luxury to stop and pause and understand the longer journey. It is neither a beginning nor an end. Now, just a brief word to the parents. This is a milestone for you as well. Some of you are surely trying to recall the long-forgotten skills of managing discretionary income, but it is meaningful in another way. 4 years ago, when I welcomed you to Washington and Lee, here in Lee Chapel, I read a passage from one of Richard Ruscio's novels. "It is not an easy time for a parent," he writes, "this moment when the realization dawns that you have given birth to something that will never see things the way you do, despite the fact that it is your living legacy, that it bears your name." Though that may have struck a poignant word of sadness back then, I hope today it evokes a strong sense of pride. Pride that an independent person has emerged, ready to take on, in her own way, challenges she has chosen for herself. Your child, certainly no longer a child, has done well and is destined for even greater things to come. We are forever grateful to you for entrusting us with the most cherished part of your lives. It is now time to point out a few special recognitions. All of the members of the faculty and staff contribute significantly to the education of our students. But it is customary at this time to single out for special thanks the faculty and staff who will retire at the end of this year. Each has served the university and all of our students with distinction. I will ask each retiree to rise when I call his or her name, position, and the number of years of service devoted to Washington and Lee, and then to remain standing until all are recognized. Please hold your applause until all names have been announced, and with one exception, I will call them in alphabetical. Technical Services, Labor and Library, 21 years. Dora Coleman, Marketplace Cook, 21 years. John DeCourcy, Director of Financial Aid, 27 years. Emery Higgins, Facilities Management, Plumber, Heating, Ventilation, and Cooling Specialist, 31 years. Francis Moore, Facilities Management Custodian, 15 years. Brenda Reese, Textbook Buyer, 44 years. Halford Ryan, Professor of Speech, 40 years. Carol Shorter, Executive Assistant to the Dean of the Law School, 26 years. Kenneth Digger Swink, Facilities Management Paint Shop, Supervisor, 38 years. Marilee Taylor, University Librarian, 6 years. And last and certainly not least, Miss Catherine Kitty Dunlap, who most recently served as a host in Washington Hall, but has served numerous other capacities at Washington and Lee, 50 years. It is our privilege to recognize these faithful servants of Washington and Lee and our students. Let's express our heartfelt gratitude to them by saluting them with warm applause. Next to your families, those of you graduating today probably owe your education to the faculty and staff more than to any other single group. Members of the faculty and staff have guided you, gently admonished you, supported you, and sometimes been absolutely shocked at what you've been able to accomplish. Would the faculty and staff please stand? Members of the class of 2010 and their guests, please join me in thanking these very dedicated individuals. And lest we forget, a very special thanks as well to the facilities management crew and our public safety officers. Their efforts over the last couple of days are the last and maybe most meaningful gift they will provide to you during your time here. Thank you very much to all of them. And I now call your attention to the printed program. You will find recorded there a list of students who have won special honors and awards. I commend to you a careful reading of this part of the program. While all of the students today who are graduating have achieved the most important recognition, a degree, we customarily recognize 2 special awards at graduation. First, we recognize the recipients of the Algernon Sidney Sullivan Medallion. Each year, the faculty selects 2 members of the class. The award recognizes those who excel in high ideals of living, in spiritual qualities, and in generous and disinterested service to others. This year, the faculty voted these awards to Kushal Harjani and Catherine Boyles. And just a word about both of them. Kushal hails from Kathmandu, Nepal. He has served as an associate editor of the Illinois Wesleyan University Undergraduate Economic Review and has been a Williams School programming intern. In the words of one of his faculty mentors, he is strong, relentless, and irrepressibly cheerful. He has volunteered for 2 organizations in Houston, a charter school, and an organization dedicated to fighting homelessness. He has also volunteered in schools and communities in Philadelphia through our Neighbors Service League, and in Charleston, West Virginia, Shreveport, Louisiana, and the Dominican Republic, where he assisted baseball players through our English for Speakers of Other Languages program. On our campus, he is known for founding and heading Action Change Tomorrow, which has raised over $5,000 to fight human rights violations in many countries. Kushal has enriched our campus and community in many ways. Catherine Boyles hails from Nacogdoches, Texas. Her senior project investigated whether Latin American countries are more efficient if they use U.S. currency instead of their own. Sharing her expertise, Katie serves as a peer mentor in economics and is known for her willingness to gather groups of students in the evening to work over tough technical problems. She has volunteered in a school in Quito, Ecuador, and volunteered as teacher's aide with a 1st grade class right here in Central Elementary School. She's also served as traveler chair, assuring fellow students a safe ride home. And once again, our congratulations to Katie and Kushal, recipients of the 2010 Algernon Sidney Sullivan Award. Next, we recognize the senior who has achieved the highest academic standing and is therefore designated by the faculty as class valedictorian. Taringa Trebuchek hails from Koblenz, Germany. Taringa was the recipient of the James D. Davidson Memorial Fund Scholarship and is a psychology major. Her research interests include determining the cause of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and her senior thesis was entitled Emotion Regulation in Individuals with Self-Reported Symptoms of ADHD. In recognition of her accomplishments, she was elected to Phi Beta Kappa, and Taringa graduates with a 4.069 grade point average, and next year will serve as project manager while completing a 2-year post-baccalaureate fellowship in clinical neuroscience at Duke University. Congratulations to Taringa, and please rise. Well, at this point in the graduation exercises, Washington and Lee tradition privileges us with the opportunity to hear from one of its graduates. Kenneth Hopkins is from Little Rock, Arkansas, and has served on W&L's executive committee at W&L for the past 2 years as class of 2010 representative, making him the member of this class with the most seniority on the EC. During his time at W&L, Kenneth has studied business administration while being active in many activities outside of class, such as the Multicultural Student Association, General Activities Board, Traveler, W&L Dance, Fancy Dress Committee, and many intramurals. He is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Please join me in welcoming Kenneth.
Well, good morning, and thank you, President Ruscio, for your gracious introduction and inviting me to speak here today. Today is a day of achievement. We all have reason to celebrate. Our parents are here to celebrate us taking the next step of our lives. They have watched us grow through the past 2 decades and pushed us further to reach for our goals. The faculty is here to celebrate our academic accomplishments. They have pushed us to think beyond our limits and our comfort zones, but most importantly, to expand our thoughts. We are here to celebrate our growth and development throughout our lives, but in particular, these past 4 years. These past 4 years have been some of the best times of our lives. Since arriving here in our first year, we have gone to many classes, many parties, and seen many changes. We saw the installation of a new president, a new provost, the retiring of legendary professors. General education requirements became FDR requirements. A new registration process, which I know a lot of you weren't happy about, but it's here now. The end of Buffalo Creek, and most recently, a new spring term. But through all these times, many relationships have been forged. Our time here has been filled with memories that have shaped us into the individuals that will walk across this stage here today. After arriving here in 2006, most of us had no idea what to expect. Rob Rain gave us a very serious introduction to the honor system. Bert Dax sang us his rendition of If I Could Change the World. And Neville Fogarty showed us why he was smart enough to be on Jeopardy. We spent that week being introduced to the different aspects of campus, but most importantly, we spent it together. We will never forget the new member that made us peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on an ironing board outside the library, the midnight breakfasts before exams during fall term, or Marquita and Mark Evans' rants during their comedy show Wednesday Night Live, or W&L. We have all hit rough patches over the past 4 years, but even those times has helped shape us into the individuals we are here today. Washington Lee has given us a foundation to build our lives upon. We have learned and experienced what it means to be an honorable person and to have been equipped with the tools to handle the situation that life will throw at us. I'm sure President Ruscio will be able to give us several moments in which our alumni have been able to use these tools I speak of. Our final year here at Washington Lee, which has been filled with both fun, but some sadness. We spent our last months together on this campus. Our legacy has been left, and it won't be forgotten. We aren't simply a graduating class, we are the graduating class of 2010. And W&L has prepared us for the challenges that we face ahead. Meow is a time for us to reflect back on our 4 years here. Several moments seem to stick out in my mind. The traditional 2 freshmen that kissed during orientation week, as Southern Comfort sang, "Kiss the girl." I didn't know your names, but I was going to actually say them. But you know who you are. And all the late night conversations we've had with the traveler drivers that everyone thought wasn't listening, but they really were. And for me, the moment I passed the swim test. For those of you that don't know, every year there is a senior that waits until the last moment to take their swim test. That was me. but I passed, and that's all that matters. In just a few moments, we're going to walk across the stage and go from being seniors to being W&L alumni. Becoming a W&L alum is a very prestigious moment. It not only marks the moment when we officially become an adult, but it also carries to the largest sense of accomplishment in our lives up until this point. As we go forth into the world to make our marks, this distinction will always be with us. It is a symbol of the pride and the honor that we have worked so hard to achieve. With this new role comes new responsibilities. The alumni that came before us paved the way for our successes and have continued to give back to the institution that helped them get to where they are today. Now it is our turn to share this responsibility. The time and resources that we have been fortunate to take advantage of over the past 4 years must be replenished for the next generation of students. Although we still have a lot of growing to do ourselves, the alumni before us and the chapters around the world or our next destination will be able to help us with that growth. Yesterday we heard from Reverend Klein about integrity as he urged us to pay attention to the environment and who we are. Reverend Klein reminded us that integrity is based on paying attention. As graduates, we must take notice of the gifts this university has given us and live according to the motto, not unmindful of the future. Remember what this university has instilled in us, and let's carry it with us as we continue on our journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth, not only for your good words this morning, but for your many contributions to the university these last 4 years. Well, in further keeping with the tradition established by my predecessors and affirmed by the board, I take these final moments to send you on your way mindful of the lessons that you have learned here and your accomplishments, and I promise I will be brief. Earlier this month, I had one of those experiences that serve as a poignant reminder of why we do what we do here at Washington and Lee. It happened over the course of a single day. In the morning, I met with about 200 high school seniors and their parents over in the Lenfest Center. They were here for Accepted Students Day, trying to decide where they should spend their next 4 years. From there, I headed back to my office on the Colonnade to begin greeting members of the class of 1960 who were here arriving for their 50th class reunion. Now, the merging of those two events, greeting prospective students and then alumni of a century of Washington and Lee history, looking back over the span of 50 years with my fellow alumni, while looking ahead 50 years imagining similar stories from the class of 2014 when they gathered in 2064 for their 50th reunion. Here are just 3 of the many stories I heard from our alumni from the class of 1960. In the early to mid-1980s, Dr. Mervyn Silverman, with his medical and public health degrees in hand, was Director of Health for the city of San Francisco, a challenging public service career under any circumstances. But during his tenure, a mysterious disease started spreading among the gay community. The cause was unknown. He found himself at the front lines of a public health crisis. In the words of noted reporter Francis Fitzgerald, he had one of the most difficult jobs in the country and one of the loneliest. Eventually, the Silverman model for combating AIDS in San Francisco, based on compromise, consensus, and a commitment to public health, became the national model. The Right Reverend Peter James Lee was first an Army intelligence officer and then attended Duke Law School. But the ministry called him, and he became an Episcopal priest. In 1984, he was named Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Virginia, the nation's largest. There were deep controversies over the years, with many questions about church doctrine and the threat of deep divisions. Throughout his 25-year tenure, Bishop Lee gained respect for his calm dignity and his ability to bridge the divides, standing fast for the principles of inclusion. In February, Tom Touchton was named Citizen of the Year in Tampa, Florida. A successful manager of an investment firm, Mr. Touchton has also spent much of his career supporting local civic and charitable causes. One of those stood out, his 20-year odyssey, and it truly was an odyssey, to fund and build the Tampa Historical Center. His vision recently became a reality. The center is now the source of immense civic pride, as well as an important means of preserving the history and culture of the region. As one newspaper reported, Touchton persevered, devoting his time, money, and brainpower to the task, and he showed precisely how such a venture should be pursued. Now, those are very different stories, but a common thread is that these three individuals, when they sat at their commencement, as you do today, never anticipated the challenges that came their way. Bishop Lee did not take a management or religion course at W&L that prepared him for the organizational or theological disputes he would encounter, nor was there a course on building consensus in the face of impossible odds. Dr. Silverman did not leave here with a manual of how to deal with an unprecedented public health problem that was politically, socially, and morally complex, as well as medically mystifying. Mr. Touchton's transcript provides no direct evidence that Washington and Lee bestowed upon him the leadership acumen he would need to marshal the citizens of Tampa behind such a daunting civic effort. But it was unmistakably clear to them, as it was to me when I listened to their stories and read about their lives, that Washington and Lee profoundly influenced their bearing and the choices they made along the way. Here's what I mean. We do not give much thought these days to where people acquire and hone their values, but institutions matter. And just at a time when colleges ought to embrace the challenge of helping students decide what should be important, they seem to be shying away. We have not and will not. In ways that you may not fully appreciate now, but certainly will when you gather here in 2060, the character of this community shapes the character of the individuals who belong to it. Washington and Lee hasn't given you a roadmap because we simply cannot know what challenges await you towards honor. Over the course of your lives, this quality will reveal itself in ways large and small. There was a story recently in the New York Times. It was about a retired lawyer who received a duplicate payment from the IRS after paying his taxes. He was $600 to the good as a result. The cause of this windfall, he discovered, was a flaw in the software package he had used to prepare his taxes. He returned the money to the IRS and notified the company that wrote the software. This was newsworthy. So when the Times reporter asked him to explain the seemingly inexplicable behavior, the attorney had a ready answer. Years ago, he said, I graduated from a college in the South, Washington and Lee University, where we were taught never to lie, cheat, or steal. I recall an incident from my days on the faculty. In an American government class, we were discussing the ethics of campaign finance. One student, who had interned in Washington the summer before and so brought the voice of hard experience to the discussion, made a kind of Machiavellian argument. It was fine, he said, to act honorably here in our enlightened community where no one would take advantage of your honesty, but leave such naivete behind you when you depart campus. For if you lead a life of virtue among those without virtue, you will be doomed to failure. There was a moment of dead silence in the classroom. Then the woman next to him uttered a not very mild profanity, certainly not repeatable in this setting. She proceeded to eviscerate the moral bankruptcy of the argument in the course of a tirade that I considered the most justified breach of classroom civility I've ever witnessed. Now, my point is not that you should give campaign donations ethically, although you should, nor that you should be honest on your taxes, although you should. It is something deeper. You leave here not with the answers about what to do in a particular situation, but with a disposition, a temperament, a moral vocabulary, a sense that life will not spare you from a multitude of personal and professional situations that will require a decision about how to act honorably. The seed of that disposition is found in the honor system. It is nourished in your early days as first years, when you are most mindful of it and perhaps most intimidated by it. But gradually it becomes part of you. You are less mindful of it even as you are living it. The community's expectations develop within you what Alexis de Tocqueville described in a different context as a habit of the heart. A seemingly simple admonition not to lie, cheat, or steal grows into a moral perspective that causes you to be aware of your obligations to others, to respect individuals no matter their differences, to lead a life that allows for pauses along the way to decide not simply what you want, but what you should want. We sometimes ascribe more to the honor system than it merits, even as we sometimes attempt to leverage it to solve every imperfection we find in our community. We sometimes look at its procedures and find we need to modify them. There are times when the pain of enforcement seems unbearable. But we should never lose sight of how it is the foundation of so much of what we do here, and how it so profoundly raises the moral ambition of our graduates after they leave. It is telling that as life goes on for our alumni and their student days become more distant, they talk more about the honor system and its influence on them, not less. When I greeted you almost 4 years ago here in Lee Chapel, after the rain that, according to custom, allows us to be outside today, I told you this: at no other point in your lives will you grow as much as individuals, yet feel so much a part of a community. I now challenge you to prove me wrong. Let your experience at Washington and Lee be just the beginning. Do not leave behind the most important lesson you may have learned at Washington and Lee, that you grow as individuals as you give to others. Leave here mindful of that disposition towards honor you have acquired and use it to strengthen your communities. As I've said on other occasions, the mark of a Washington and Lee man and woman should be that anyone they deal with, no matter their differences, should walk away knowing that they were treated with respect. Return here in 2060 to reflect upon your lives, as the class of 1960 recently did, and say to each other that while the Washington and Lee student experience was fulfilling, fun, and academically challenging, it also is the perfect preparation for lives of consequence, for lives of meaning, and for lives of honor. Thank you for all you have given us, and congratulations on your accomplishments. Now, speaking of lives of consequence, we now come to the point in our program when we customarily recognize outstanding individuals whose lives we hold up to you as examples of how you should live yours, whose records of achievement and personal character exemplify this institution's highest ideals. Today, we will bestow 2 honorary doctorates. Will the University Registrar escort Dr. Pauline Yu to the front of the podium? And I now recognize Provost June Aprilli, who will read the honorary degree citation.
Pauline Yu is a teacher of East Asian languages and cultures, a scholar of Chinese poetry, a university administrator, president of a National Learned Society, and a lifelong advocate for liberal education. Educated herself at Harvard and Stanford, Professor Yu has served several universities as a classroom instructor of Chinese language and culture. She has written books about imagery in the Chinese poetic tradition and the poems of Wang Wei. One of her edited volumes is enticingly entitled Ways with Words and deals with the challenges of writing about the reading of early Chinese texts. Her scholarship and her teaching have used poetry to build bridges between East and West, between past and present, and between the mysteries of the Chinese historical experience and the cultural complexities of contemporary America. In addition to her accomplishments as an internationally recognized scholar, Pauline Yu has excelled in administrative posts, first as a department chair, then as Dean of Humanities in the College of Letters and Science at UCLA, and now as the president of the American Council of Learned Societies, a national coalition of professional academic organizations. In addition, Dr. Yu holds appointments on the Board of Overseers at Harvard, the Senate of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, as a trustee for the Asian Cultural Council, on the Board of Directors of the Teagle Foundation, as a member in the Scholars Council of the Library of Congress, and has many other titles and responsibilities in enterprises all across the landscape of American and international higher education. Dr. Yu is a public champion for the humanities and liberal arts, as demonstrated by the titles of some of her recent public addresses, such as Revitalizing Humanities, Expanding the Vision of Liberal Education, and Insurmountable Opportunities, Liberal Education in a Changing Climate. An eloquent speaker, Dr. Yu has been a tireless advocate for our shared vision of liberal education for the 21st century. Pauline Yu, distinguished teacher, scholar, and leader in liberal arts higher education, Washington & Lee is proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters of Washington & Lee University. Congratulations. Will the University Registrar escort Dr. Robert Sinsky to the front of the podium?
Innovator and humanitarian. Dr. Sinsky, a native of Baltimore, Maryland, graduated from Washington & Lee University in 1945 with a Bachelor of Arts and earned an MD from Duke University in 1948. He was a member here of Phi Epsilon Pi fraternity. An accomplished physician and surgeon, Dr. Sinsky pioneered the use of intraocular lens implants and was the first surgeon to perform the procedure on infants and children in the United States. As a lieutenant in the United States Navy following World War II, he studied the effects of radiation on the eyes of atomic bomb victims. His research showed that the lens, not the retina, is the most sensitive to radiation, a finding that has informed treatment of cancers around the eye. He has authored more than 30 journal articles and textbook chapters and co-authored the Manual of Cataract Surgery, which is a key reference for ophthalmologists everywhere. Dr. Sinsky served as a clinical professor of ophthalmology at the Jules Stein Eye Institute at the University of California, Los Angeles School of Medicine, and he has participated in more than 100 symposia and speaking engagements. He serves on the editorial boards of Ocular Surgery News, Ophthalmology Times, European Journal of Ocular Surgery News, and Asia Pacific Journal of Ophthalmology. Dr. Sinsky designed several innovative surgical instruments and patented the Sinsky hook, which is used in laser procedures and eye surgery, allowing for smaller incisions. He also pioneered a procedure to treat nystagmus, the involuntary movement of the eyes that prevents normal focusing. In addition to his advances in medicine, Washington & Lee recognizes Dr. Sinsky today for his humanitarian work. He founded the Robert M. Sinsky Foundation, which supports initiatives associated with the environment, natural resources, eye research, higher education, and human services. His passion for improving vision, especially in children, has helped to restore this site to people around the world. He led efforts in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to create the American Society of Cataract and Refractive Surgery's Pediatric Eye Care Clinic, which was later named the Robert M. Sensky Clinic. In recognition of his many significant achievements and professional contributions, he has been inducted into the Ophthalmology Hall of Fame and received the Duke University Humanitarian Award and an honorary Doctor of Medical Sciences from the University of South Carolina. Dr. Robert M. Sensky, in recognition of your lifelong accomplishments as an extraordinary physician, innovator, humanitarian, and distinguished alumnus, Washington and Lee University is proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science of Washington and Lee University. Congratulations, Dr. Sensky. Well, now to the main event. I now recognize Robert D. Strawn, Associate Dean of the Williams School of Commerce, Economics, and Politics. He will present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science with special attainments in commerce.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Commerce please rise? President Ruscio, I have the honor to present for the Bachelor of Science with special attainments in commerce 126 candidates. They have been examined by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees. I ask you by your official act to confer upon them this degree.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Washington and Lee University and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science with special attainments in commerce of Washington and Lee University. Congratulations. Please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Carolyn Lee Adamick, cum laude. Andrew Camilo Alberico, cum laude. Hayes Nicholas Asapamanwe, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Daniel Benjamin Austin. Chelsea Leanne Barkman. George Paul Barsness, Jr. John Logan Bartlett, Jr. Catherine Ann Becker. William Wallace Billington, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. David Glenn Blake. Jeffrey K.A. Boateng. Brian Oliver Bondurant, cum laude. Thomas Stephen Brandline. Anne Elizabeth Brantley. Patrick Gore Brennan. Blair Alexandra Bresky. Lauren Brady Kerr. Lindsay Elizabeth Castles, magna cum laude. Matthew Bruce Casserly. Ryan Young Castle. Gustav Robert Kavanaugh, cum laude. Laura May Kavanaugh. Charles M. Clark. Charles William Craigle. Drew Thomas Crowley. David Michael Daly, Jr., cum laude. Dinah Elizabeth Danforth, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Charles Joseph Davidson II. John Anthony DeTore. Stephen Joseph DeVario. Lauren Wright Dorsey. Ross Maxwell Draper. Fletcher Willingham Dunn. Catherine Elizabeth Dunphy. Caroline Cape Eccles. Christopher M. Farrell, cum laude. Kevin Francis Feeney. Margaret Page Fisco. Alicia Carrie Ann Flynn. Meredith Rank Freeman. Douglas Jeremy Friedman. Charles Turley Gentles. Jamie Ryan Gooden. Julia Marie Gottwald. William Philip Graham. Lindsay Caitlin Grant. William Bowman Green. Matthew John Green. Charles Edward Griffin, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Hillary Caroline Grosser. Douglas Grover. Christopher Harris Hake, cum laude. Kushal Naresh Harjani. Catherine Alexander Harris, cum laude. Welford Dalton Harris II. Taylor Irene Hart, cum laude. Lauren Elizabeth Heitsusen. Michelle K. Hirschfeld. David Doak Hoffman, cum laude. Kenneth Allen Hopkins. Matthew Crable Hutton. Eric Allen Jaski. Agata Maria Kasha, cum laude. Sarah Lillian Keckler, honors in East Asian languages and literatures. William Thomas Kegler, cum laude. Reagan Marlene Kerr, magna cum laude. Richard Paul Knack. Elizabeth Stevens Krosnick. Joshua Reuben Cuckley. Matthew Kerwin Langan. John Tucker Lawrence. Jessica Jean Lund, cum laude. Catherine Marie Lynn. Maxwell Michael Mancuso. Stephanie Rose Manzi, cum laude. Stephanie Ann Marks, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Emily Shea Martin, cum laude. Kendall Britton Matthews. Andrew Russell Merriweather, in absentia. Elizabeth Adeline Michi, honors in English. Hannah Catherine Mitchell, cum laude. Meredith Dowd Mitchell, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Sarah Elizabeth Mance. Mance, excuse me. Joseph Strock Moore. Carlos Alberto Morales Uyari, magna cum laude. George Emmett Morgan IV, magna cum laude. Tanner Mark Musa. Nathan John Nickerson. Anthony James Oley Jr., Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Tara Jane Maria O'Neill. Michael Cornelis Ohms. Samantha Michelle Euler, magna cum laude. William Colton Payne. Rajuda Jaraj Fatak, cum laude. Penny, sorry. Victoria Lee Raby. Alexander Christian Rimmel, cum laude. Ashton Olini Rippian. Alan J. Roth. Robert Burr Sailors, cum laude. Julie Bartlett Sanders, cum laude. Donovan Jamel Sawyer. Michael Paul Scheifele. Vivian Fleming Schreeder. George Hunter Sarenbetz. Sarah Elizabeth Simpson, cum laude. John Daniel Skolnick. John Tyler Smith. James Francis Smythe. Parker Eric Swinson. Sarah Marie Thornsberry, magna cum laude. Robert Orman Thorpe. Thomas Mason Tillett, Jr. Markovins B. Schuma, Jr. Taylor Robertson Walsh. Christopher James Washington. Ryan Patrick Welsh. Molly Carrington West. Emily Jane Whipple, cum laude. Jeffrey William White. William David Wilkerson. Larkin Monroe Wilson IV, cum laude. Robert Byron Womble, Jr. Annie Jha. Christopher E. Zimko. Congratulations.
I now recognize Larry C. Peppers, Dean of the Williams School of Commerce, Economics, and Politics, who will present the candidates from the Williams School for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
Will the candidates from the Williams School of Commerce, Economics, and Politics for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise? President Ruscio, I have the honor to present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts 71 candidates. They've been examined by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees. I ask you by your official act to confer upon them this degree.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Washington and Lee University and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts of Washington and Lee University. Congratulations. Please come forward to receive your diplomas.
John Samuel Ackerman. Nicole Marie Alaban. Andrew Nicholas Ossipimonwaite. Jacob L. Barr. Annie Bush Blakely. Alexander Thomas Bowling. Catherine Page Bowles. Honors in Economics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Robert Thomas Bowler. William Stanton Bryce. Alexander Scott Brooke. Jonathan Christian Brown. Carolyn Claire Berzazovich. Andrew Christopher Budzinski, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Jessica Elizabeth Bennell, cum laude. Alexandra Kondo Caritas, magna cum laude. Austin Patrick Colpini. Frank Roldoff Dale, Jr. Dane Alexander Davis. Avel Samuel Delgado. Brian Ellis Devine, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. James Christian Dick, Honors in Economics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Douglas Jeremy Friedman. Thomas Daniel Frith IV. Dylan Robin Fulcher. George O. Jelinus IV. Joseph Cannon Gibson. Benjamin Donald Getch. Joshua Alejandro Gonzalez, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Carolyn Louise Head, magna cum laude. John Russell Hensel III. Robert Braxton Hillebrand. Samantha Jane Hogans. Michael Edward Huntress, cum laude. Jessica Lois Jones. Anne Michelle Casper. Rosemary Catherine Kelly. Erica Anna Kolick. Alexandria Madeline Kirst. Kelly Ann Lartigue, cum laude. Rizak Olawashewun Luwal. Benjamin Bedell Lawrence. William Camden Lewis. William Francis Luce III. Matthew Michael May. Jordan Hall Felton McKittrick, Honors in Economics. Mark Brent Myers, Jr. Ryan Hiroshi Moling. Jennifer Lynn Nunes. Elliot William O'Brien, University Scholar, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Andrew A. Payne IV. Logan Elliott Pettigrew, cum laude. James Richard Plantholt. Anna Knowles Rogers. Grant Stephen Russell. Brian Michael Scully. Aparajita Singh, Honors in Economics, magna cum laude. Catherine Brainerd Sinks. Mark Winston Stagg, Jr. Summer Lee Sterling. Tara Brittany Stewart, magna cum laude. Benjamin Graham Stutz. Wesley Bruce Tetzworth. Kevin Daniel Tremp. John Griffin Toomey II. James Scott Waddell. Bradley William Watts. Zachary Sylvester White. James Patrick Wolf. Jennifer Lynn Wright. Congratulations.
I now recognize Janet Akeda, Associate Dean of the College, who will present candidates from the college for the degree of Bachelor of Science.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science please rise? Okay. President Ruscio, I have the honor to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science 70 candidates. They have been examined by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees. I ask you by your official act to confer upon them this degree.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Washington and Lee University, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science of Washington and Lee University. Congratulations, and please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Nathaniel Derek Adkins. Hiba Mahmood Asi, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. James Vernon Baird, Jr., Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. William Douglas Baker, cum laude. Brandon Lee Barnes, cum laude. Michael James Bender. Samuel Benjamin Brusco, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Edward Callowhill Burks III, honors in physics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Whitney Renee Burns, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Matthew Ian Childers, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Diana Ira Cianciata. Emily Faye Coyle, University Scholar, honors in psychology, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Josiah William Davis, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Makasazana Dube. Neville Lyons Fogarty, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Nicholas Harrison First. Joshua Alejandro Gonzalez, honors in physics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Kristen K. Shadeen Goulburn. Sally Virginia Gould. Caroline Marion Habliston, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Suzanne Edmonds Hames. Andrea Lee Hannock, University Scholar, cum laude. Kelly Louise Harrison, cum laude. Charles William Heaps III, cum laude. Mary Franklin Hip. Sean Michael Hurtis. Jessica Donnell Huss. Gordon Roswell Isbell IV. Erica Morgan Jones. Jessica Caitlin Camp, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Sarah Van Kelly, cum laude. Daniel R. Cole, honors in geology. Adam Swanson Kovars. David Joseph Love. William Francis Luce III. Kendall McCarthy Massengill, magna cum laude. Stephanie Morrow Mendez. Clara Kramer McLennan, magna cum laude. Joseph Patrick McDonald, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Stephen Frederick Meadors. Benjamin Wynne Mooneyham, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Marcus Walter Must. Anaria Nardone, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Rebecca Connell Owings. Mary Elizabeth Petrulis. John Ruger Flug III, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Rachel Diana Phillips. James J. Pratt IV. Kristen Elizabeth Quinn, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Michael Krishna Rao. Samuel Tracy Reed, cum laude. Brooke Lauren Reedy, University Scholar, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Sarah Elizabeth Robertson. Andrew Michael Sackman, cum laude. Aparajita Singh, magna cum laude. Rachel Michelle Skanes, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Carolyn Nicole Small, cum laude. Victoria Maureen Stevens, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Nicholas Telluri. Catherine Christina Telfian, honors in geology, cum laude. Daniel Frederick Thornton, honors in computer science, cum laude. Sarah Josephine Trimble, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Darinka Trubacek, honors in psychology, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Bena Mojanai Chishiku, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Grace Ziyan Wong, cum laude. Nicholas David Ward. John Russum Weems, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. John Thomas Wren Jr., Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Kelsey Marie Wright, cum laude. Congratulations.
I now recognize Hank Dobin, Dean of the College, who will present the candidates from the college for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise? President Ruscio, I have the honor to present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts 164 candidates. They have been examined by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees. I ask you by your official act to confer upon them this degree.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Washington and Lee University and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts of Washington and Lee University. Congratulations, and please come forward to receive your diplomas.
William Richard Folger Ackle. Carolyn Lee Adamick, cum laude. Sally Matthews Armstrong. Danielle H. Awesomes. Jason P. Bacci. Lauren Louise Barus. John Richard Barron. Lynn Elizabeth Basil, cum laude. Cody Lee Beecham. Rebecca Joanne Beeson, honors in history, magna cum laude. Jane Crossett Bouch, honors in art history, cum laude. Caitlin Ann Bourret. Jessica Lee Brenner. Natalie Ida Bonnell. Honors in art history, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Anna Stewart Burnett, cum laude. Helen Hardy Calvert. Adam Scott Cankren. Catherine Mayling Carlock. Lam Singh Sylvia Chang. Sharon Regina Chu. Robert S. Claiborne, Jr. P. Zach Colangelo Trenner. Amy Margaret Conant, honors in English. William James Cooper, university scholar, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Kevin Thomas Korn, honors in history. Francis McCants Couch. Ashley Parkinson Craddock. Thomas Michael Craig Grubbs. Sam Royal Caparo III. Dinah Elizabeth Danforth, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Josiah William Davis, honors in mathematics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Felicia Gabrielle DeCourcy. Amy Lauren Douglas. Mary Margaret Dozier. Stephanie Mae Dultz. Catherine Elizabeth Dunphy. Lisa Newman Dutton, honors in philosophy. Ngozika Ithioma Chioenye Ibuno. Alexandra Vivian Eichenbaum. Hilary Ann Einfeld. RSA Nikalika Emope. Sarah Randolph Engstrom. Julia McLaughlin Farnham. Christopher M. Farrell, cum laude. Laura Marie Fleming. Maureen Griffin Ford. Caitlin Elizabeth Foster. Samara Tinette Malia Francisco, magna cum laude. Clifford Davis Gotti. Erin Elizabeth Gallagher. Mary Ann Ganser. Jonathan Grover Geeson, cum laude. Andrew William Gilmore, honors in philosophy. Robert Christian Given. Jackie Rice Goodell. Yeah. So, Kelly Jessica Gotkin, cum laude. William Philip Graham. Cale Garrett Grove, magna cum laude. Carolyn Claire Haberly. Sarah Engel Hardin-White. Margaret Rose Harrington, honors in art history, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Derek Harris Haysom. Olivia Paramore Head. Natalie Rebecca Herndon. Kim Suk Holland, honors in East Asian languages and literatures, cum laude. Brett Scott Holton. Lucy Glenn Hundley, university scholar, honors in English, magna cum laude. Sean Michael Hurtis. Sarah Boykin Jenks. Nathan Matthew Jensen. Samantha Marie Jimenez. Lindsay Annika Johansson. Lara June Jordan. Megan Erin Keene. Anthony Edward Kelly. Sarah Chania Kim, honors in music, cum laude. Rosalind Victoria Clan. Andrew Pierce Lambert. Rachel Clark Langdon, honors in history. Grant Kent Lewandowski. Adam Matthew Lewis. Cece Liang, honors in English, cum laude. Kevin Connor Long. Allison Thornwell Love. Jessica Jane Uwingja Makona. Elizabeth McNair Mann. Kevin Robert Mannering. Matthew Joseph Mason. Alexandra N. Massey. Ashley Joy McAllister. Murray Garrett McClintock, Jr. Jordan Elizabeth McConnell. Grace Buckley McGee, honors in philosophy, cum laude. Jenna Sophia Marigi. Ashley Nicole Milligan, cum laude. Benjamin Wynne Mooneyham, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Michael Anthony Morella, cum laude. Hannah Jean Murphy. Henry Samuel Nathan. Nathan John Nickerson. Chase Ashlyn Noyes. Andrea Michelle Null, honors in English. Michael Patrick O'Brien, honors in studio art. Dennis Joseph O'Leary III. Matthew Lorenz Pagano. Catherine Holly Pearsall. Colin Sullivan Peck. Rome Isaac Perlman. Kristen Amanda Pearson. Kevin Joel Polhouse, cum laude. Kimberly Lauren Poisant. Alexandra Dixon Raub. David W. Rain. Holly Lynn Ratliff, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Brooke Lauren Reedy, University Scholar, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Joseph Wesley Roan. Marquita Julia Robinson, honors in theater, cum laude. Stephanie Jean Schaefer. Hannah Eva Schwartzstein. Zachary Samuel Siegel, cum laude. Eleanor Albright Simmons. Catherine Emily Simon, cum laude. Erin Kylie Smith. Ethan Harold Smith. Gordon Allen Smith, Jr. William Dixon Snuckles. Maria Judith Soria Diaz. Cameron Scott Steele. Megan Mackenzie Steinhardt. Christina Marie Stevens. Reed Eastburn Stevens. William Lawrence Stewart, honors in music. Hillary Windhaus Strasser. Marion Jean Sutherland. Melissa Renee Shumlick. Daniel Frederick Thornton, cum laude. Dorothy Rebecca Todd, University Scholar, honors in English, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Mark Kevin Schuma, Jr. Farrell Rose Ulrich. Eliza Lee Van Buren. Charles James Van Horn, Jr. Elizabeth Marshall Van Leer, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Brooks Vardell. Stuart Ross Vassy. Jessica Ann Versalino. Eric A. Veris, cum laude. Claudia Vincenti. Victoria Valerieva Vutova, magna cum laude. Hui Wang. Mary Frances Weatherly. Molly Elizabeth Wheaton, cum laude. Jordan Michael White. Kimber Lauren Wiggs, University Scholar, Honors in English, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Emily Ann Williams, cum laude. Caitlin Marie Wilson. Charles Berkeley Wilson III. Queenie Wong, cum laude. Jenna Page Worsham, Honors in English, Honors in Theater, cum laude. John Thomas Wren Jr., Honors in Religion, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Kelsey Marie Wright, cum laude. And Edward Stevenson Yelding. Congratulations to you all.
Please be seated. And my congratulations as well to all of the graduates and their families. And it is now my duty to bring us to our conclusion. And saying goodbye to this class is especially bittersweet for the Ruscio family. Kim, Matthew, and I came here with you, and many of you and your parents provided a series of welcoming gestures that made our transition easy and memorable. We thank you, and will always have a special place in our hearts for this class. But we get to stay. And in just a few short moments, your student days will be relegated to that portion of your mind reserved for memories. The letter you received from the admissions office. Freshman, not first year, check-in day. The early morning walks across the footbridge from the sorority houses to class. The final football, lacrosse, or volleyball game of your career as a general. Your senior recital, Goshen Pass, fancy dress. The staff member who cared about you during a rough patch. The faculty member who discovered within you an aptitude for art, for science, or philosophy, and nurtured it into a passion. The friends you made, who will be part of your lives forever, who will celebrate with you in the years to come marriages, the birth of your children, and your many accomplishments. This afternoon, with your departure, the university in your eyes will begin its inexorable decline away from perfection. And yes, when the history of the university is finally written, it will be recorded that Washington and Lee reached its peak on May 27, 2010. And I will surely hear from you in the years to come, asking what in the world is going on. But just as surely, you will reconcile in your own minds the logic-defying truth of Washington and Lee. It was perfect when you were here, even as it gets better with the